but we're not wearing sunglasses indoors.
It's a real problem. It's a real problem. My life is so great, and my future is so bright that even at night inside, I have to.
Simon, please already, please.
Oh, Perek, please mute him, Perek. Just mute him.
Lived another 100 years without it.
Here we go, Simon.
Aaron,
Here
do me
we
a favor. Aaron, do me a favor. Forget how to mute and unmute yourself for a second.
All right, let's roll. Ready?
Now you see what Rav Aaron Horowitz feels like, Simon.
Because it's more important that you play on this. Okay, ready? To Chazar from yesterday, Daf Kuf Yud, yeah? I got Aleph, yes, I was ahead of myself. Sorry about that. Nothing will cure someone who gets bit by a snake because he went against the Rabbanon. I didn't write that correctly. If somebody goes against the Rabbanon, we said, you won't get healed. What to do about a snake that's wrapped around you? Then what to do about a snake that's angry at you? What to do about a snake chasing you? Snakes running after women. V'chulu v'chulu. Eating spleen for teeth and cress for the stomach is allowed on Shabbos because that's a normal thing to eat. No drinking urine on Shabbos. Drinking palm tree water. Drinking potions made out of beer. And then drinks that make you sterile. Then on the base, there's different ways to heal a zava. And that's what we're up to. That's what we're up to right now, right?
I'm sorry, I missed the point when you said v'chulu v'chulu. What, huh?
What?
No, I just missed that. I didn't understand.
You want to rehash that one?
No, thanks. I just wanted to make see the smile on your face when I made the comment.
You're sure you're too young for that tomorrow, okay?
Yeah.
But I do appreciate that Moshe Dov left the screen for it. That's all.
There you go. Did he? Oh. Okay, so Zog the Gemara by the two dots, right? It's a little more than halfway down. Yeah? Li Yarkaina, right? For Yarkun, yellow, which really means green, but that's another right. Yoruk is yellow. Everybody calls Yoruk green, really Yoruk is yellow. Li Yarkaina train b'shichra u'miyakar. What you do is you take two of the three that we were discussing, right? Saffron, and what do you call the other one? Alum, saffron, and the thing from Alexandria, right? Then you mix it with beer, b'shichra u'miyakar, and that's going to make the person sterile. V'loy, and if that doesn't go, laisi reisha d'shibuta, you bring the top of shibuta is a fish. Right? Rashi says it's a type of fish. Yeah, and you salt it, a salty fish. The lish like in b'shichra, and you cook it in beer. The lishti and drink it. Be loy, and if not, lysi, you bring moinine de kamtzi. You bring what do you call it? Kamtzi is how do you call it? Locusts, right? A drink of locusts. Be leka minuni de kamtzi. If you don't have that, like you the nakiri. So you bring a nakiri thing. Rashi says that's a min oifus ketanim, some small birds. I mean, I'm assuming, what does that mean? A juice of a kamte. I understand. That's assuming that you eat. You're assuming you have the Messiah to eat these things, right? But what about the birds? So they're kosher. They're not kosher. I guess it has to be kosher bird, right? Fine. Then what you do is v'layla lebeibani. You bring it to a merchatz, to a bathhouse, for the shafi, and then you put the juice all over him. Be like a beibani, but let's say you don't have a bathhouse. Look me bein tanur leguda. You put it between an oven and a wall, and then you put it on there. Yeah. So Rashi says the reason why that's going to work is because when you put him next to the oven, meaning going into the bathhouse is usually very hot, so you schwitz it out. You schwitz out the jaundice. So here too, you put him next to the oven, and then he'll schwitz it out. Amar Rav Yochanan. Yeah, haraitza sheyichamemenu. Somebody who wants to heat up, yiknechenu b'sidinoi. Wrap him up in a sheet, and that will make him very hot. Rav Achar Yosef chashpei. Rav Achar Yosef he was weak with it, with with Yarkon, with the jaundice. Over there of Kahana. So Rav Kahana did this thing. He wrapped him in a sheet. And he got better. Right? And if not, lastly, tlusa kfizi tamri parsaisa. You bring 3 kfizi, that was in a measurement, okay, of tamarim, dates from Paras, Persian dates, right? But tlusa kfizi the kira dinistrufe, and you bring three of these measurements of wax, dinistrufe, that comes from, Rashi says that comes from a bee's hive, what do you call it? Not a beehive, right? Comes from a beehive. The tlusa, not a beehive. What's the name of the thing? Honeycomb. Yeah. The tlusa kfizi ala talana, and then you bring 3 kfizim worth of wormy red. Well, Rashi says it's red, but yeah, whatever, some sort of spice. And then you boil it up in beer, and then you drink it. Okay. And if not, lacy ila bar chamra. Should bring an ila is a baby donkey, the son of a donkey, right? Bilaglach mitzisa dereisha, and then what you do is you shave the middle of the head, the opposite of a mohawk. You shave the middle of the head, right? Yeah. And whose head, right? It's a little bit like whose head, the animal's head or the person's head. So Rashi, it's mashma emtzayis roy shoy. That's mashma, that's his head, the person who is not well. And then take blood from the af, really means the nose, whatever, the face of the animal, and then take it and put it onto the head of the patient. But you should be careful that it shouldn't go into the eyes, because then the blood might go into the person's eyes and blind him.
Did they shech the donkey before?
What?
They shech the donkey before, or they do it alive?
Well, it's not kosher, so I don't know. In the stomach, they do it alive. That's what I'm assuming.
Wouldn't it be considered tzar b'lechaim?
Well, usually the rule is that if you need it for humans, so then it's not really tzar b'lechaim. So I'm assuming that you bust a hole in it, and then it's meant for humans to use. It's not tzar b'lechaim. That's what I think, right? V'iloi leisi reisha de barcha. The monach bekivsha, you take a head of a barcha, of a ram, the monach bekivsha, that was put into something pickled. Belish like b'shichra, and boil it in beer. Gittel, please. Hello. Sorry. Belish, the summer crew from Lakewood has entered the house, so I have to try and figure out a quiet place. Yeah. Belishti, and then drink it. V'iloi, if not, lacy davar achar. Right, a davar achar is a pig, right? Chutrana, that has. Rashi says that it's the same words that we had a few days ago about the leopard. A spotted pig, belekre, and tear it open, but loisve libe, and put it on his heart. Bilay, and if that doesn't work, lacy karti mikusa de mishri. You bring karti is leeks, right? Me kavsusa de mishri. Right, from the beginning, from the middle from the middle row of where it grows, fine. And then that's what you're doing. You mix it together. Okay, Ahutaya, right? That guy that's traveling, a traveler. The Chashbe, he had this issue. Amrlei Liginai, he told the guy, the gardener, Shkol Glimoi, take my coat, Vahavli Mishra de Karti, and bring me a row of leeks. Yavle, he gave it to him, and he ate it. Amrlei, he said to him, Aishlan Glimech, let me borrow shawl, from the word shawl, let me borrow your coat. Bigni Bay and Kali, and I'm gonna sleep in it a little bit. Ikrach, and he wrapped himself, gonna be slept in it. Kad ichamim, when he got up, kad icham v'kam, when he became hot, he got up, nafal porta mine, and then, like we said yesterday, little bits of pieces, it fell out of him. That's how he lost his jaundice. Okay, now we get a little bit into the practical here. Liarkoina trained b'shichra humiyakar. So we said that you're gonna have, if you do 2 of these ingredients with beer, and then it's gonna make the person not be able to have kids anymore. Umi shari is a mutter to do that, but Tanya, I mean, let's see this bottom shu assur. How do we know that you're not allowed to make a person sterile? Right? In your lands, you shouldn't do this, right? And we're teaching it. It's you shouldn't do it to you, meaning no Yidden should become can't make a Yid sterile. Dear Reb Chanina, right? So that's what Reb Chanina says. Yeah. So basically, how do you go give a guy who's not well a potion that's going to make him sterile? It's an issa deraisa to make a man sterile. So Gemara answers, right here, that's where you purposely give him something to make him sterile. Here, it's happening by itself. Because Rabbi Yochanan said a person who wants to make a tarnagol not be able to have kids, then what you do is you take off the karbaltai is like the crown, the red part of the rooster, and then it becomes a sirus, mistaras me'elim, and it becomes a sirus by itself. So here too, so it's happening by itself. The Gemara is going to ask on this. That's the only reason why he becomes a saurus, right? Is because he has gaiva. Once he loses his red thing, he doesn't want to dominate the women anymore. He doesn't have his how do you call it? He doesn't have his swag.
So he's not a real saurus.
Right, exactly. He's not a real saurus. The Gemara's answer: he's not a real saurus. He lost his male ego, and we know what happens to the male ego when it gets crushed, right? So then it moves out of New York. That's what it does. But we ain't going there, right?
Wow. Wow.
Hey, that's not fair to all of us.
I'm just making
He
sure
was looking at me.
I'm just making sure everybody's awake. That's all.
You know what? That's nice. That's real nice of you.
The sunglasses came off.
Everybody's awake with Perek who let Simon unmute.
The boxing gloves, sunglasses come off. The boxing gloves are going to come out. Anyways, so the reason why the rooster becomes sterile is because it loses its gaiva, but really it's not sterile. Elabasaurus. So we're talking about, which is very interesting, teretz. We're saying that this whole potion you can only give to a guy who's already sterile. Okay. Says Shimon, right? This is talking about by the carbon mincha, yeah. So if you take a carbon mincha and you do another carbon mincha on that, shehu chayiv, you're still chayiv. Shenemer loiseifa chametz, loisasa chametz. You shouldn't make it chametz, even though it was already chametz. You can't if you rebake it, right? It's already chametz. So then you're doing an isser on top of an isser. So here too, he should be. So the mesaras acha mesaras shu chayiv. So if you make somebody who's sterile more sterile, I guess I don't know if it means more sterile or sterile again, then you're going to be chayiv. Shenemer may mo'och v'kados v'nasav v'karos. Right? It says this is talking about a man's private parts. Perek, here you go. This is what you were asking sort of the other day. So mo'och means is one type of way that the beitzim gets smashed, crushed, or nasuk v'karos means they get cut. Right? In malkaros chayiv on nasuk like kol shekain. If you're chayiv on karos for cutting it off, I guess that would be more like vasectomy. Yeah, chayiv on nasuk like kol shekain. So on nasuk shouldn't it be? Elalavi nasuk acher karos shu chayiv. Right? But what's it talking about? It's coming to tell you nasuk acher karos. Then you're going to be chayiv. Meaning, even though he's already sterile one way, if you make him sterile the other way, so he's going to be chayiv. Right? Whatever it is, we're saying that you would not be able, you're still not allowed to give somebody a drink that's going to make him sterile if it's a different type of sterilization. So we'll say, okay, we're not talking about a saris, we're talking about somebody who's old, and somebody who's old can't have kids anymore, so therefore it's not a problem to give him this drink. But Rabbi Yochanan said, another interesting Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan, right, says that he had something done to him, that he took some sort of drink, Rabbi Yochanan, and that returned his, basically it's a Viagra. He took a Viagra and he was announcing it to everybody that this worked for him. Ella, so must be talking about, so therefore you see that an old person could theoretically have kids, right? Ella, Be'isha must be talking about that the only ones that could take this drink are women. Well, the Rabbi Yochanan, but if according to Rabbi Yochanan who holds, meaning, I'm sorry, let me explain what's going on here. Why woman is it okay? Because a woman does not have the mitzvah of urivu, right? Why? Because it says urivu the kivshua. You should multiply and then you should conquer the world. Women are not usually in war, so therefore they are potter from urivu. So if they're potter from urivu, what's wrong with giving them a drink that's going to make them sterile? Fine. So then the Gemara says, according to Rabbi Yochanan, meaning he holds he said he benched them, meaning the male and the female, and he said pruruvu. What are you going to say according to him? Bisakena, it's talking about an elderly lady. Inami ba'akara, or it's talking about a woman who cannot have kids.
If someone is makam the mitzvah pruruvu, he can take it.
Oh, very good. No, because you have a mitzvah derabanan of having more children. Yeah. Yeah.
The canisters is giving treatments.
We do it, right?
Even solving sekonos nefashos was done.
Solving the sekonos nefashos also. The problem is when it's not. When it's not that, that's a problem. So a lot of times.
What's the issue if he's Makai mitzvah pruruvu? So then umilu assur against.
Yeah. So that's what it's saying. You still have more mitzvahs of the mitzvahs derabanan.
What about surgeons?
What's say?
What about Jewish surgeons that do this operation?
That's a problem. That Shaila gets asked once in a while. It's a problem, right? They really can't do it. That's one. Two is, what it changes nowadays. It changes because a lot of times if somebody has a disease or whatever, it's a guy. So what they're going to do is he's going to give sperm samples before he gets sick, and then you save it. You can save it for the rest of your life and have kids. So that also changes the technology changes the equation a lot. Right?
Like a vasectomy. That's what we're talking about.
A vasectomy, yeah. No, but even if the person is undergoing treatments that may cause him to become sterile, right? So what they do nowadays is that he gives a bunch of sperm samples, they freeze them, and they stay for the rest of their life. A woman too, if she needs to, they take the eggs and they freeze the eggs, and then she, even though she will no longer produce eggs, but she could still, they get the pregnancy in the lab, and then she could carry the pregnancy as long as she has a uterus, right? Okay, so the technology really changes all this type of stuff. Okay, nobody should ever know from it. Yeah. Okay, Zog the Mishna. Yeah. So we continue in the refuah department. Zog the Mishna. Hachoshesh b'shinov. Right, somebody who has toothache. Lo yigma ben asachaymitz should not swallow vinegar. Kershin, is that what you posted today? Is that what you posted? Very good. Okay. Matavalu kidarkoi. But you're allowed to toivel bread into it and eat it regularly. If it's nisrapin, if you get healed, you get healed. So that's basically like the rule that we've been learning, that we don't mind. The Chachamim have no problem with getting healed as long as it's through the regular way of healing, of eating. Somebody who has stomachache, he should not he shouldn't, soak himself, I guess. That's in yayin and chaimitz, wine and vinegar. Avasachu is a shemen, the loy shemen ver, and he can use oil, like we also discussed that a couple of days ago. Oil on Shabbos is not schmearing because it's very liquidy. So you can smear oil on yourself, loy shemen vered, but not rose oil. B'nei melachim sachim shemen vered, but kings' children can use oil. Rose oil, like you're saying, on their cuts, because a king, they're used to expensive things. So when they see them doing it, they're not going to think he's doing it for refuah. They're thinking because he's a rich kid, so therefore he uses expensive oils. Reb Shimon Reb Shimon Kedarka is the makel, and he says everybody in klal Yisroel can be consider themselves b'nei melachim. Okay, so again, so we said the other day, I don't know if we made it clear, so you could smear oil on yourself on Shabbos, but it would theoretically be a refuah issue. Like sometimes people have chapped lips and they ask, can they put on oil? The answer is they could put on oil because it's not smearing, but it could be refuah. So it probably is refuah. So if that would be the normal thing to do is always put oil on your lips, then that's what the Mishna is saying. But I believe nowadays that's not enough. Not enough people do that, like on a regular basis, when it has nothing to do with healing. So I don't think you'd be able to do that on Shabbos unless you're really in a lot of pain. Okay, so talking about Rav Acha Aricha to Rav Acha bar Papa Rav Avo. So Rav Acha the Aricha means long. He was tall, right? He's Rav Acha bar Papa Rav Avo. It's not a choshesh b'shino liyigma ben es a chaymitz. If somebody has a toothache, so he cannot swallow vinegar. Are you trying to say that vinegar helps the teeth? This is going to be like this is a pasuk in Mishlei, right? Right? Somebody who's not a good guy, a lazy person, is it's like vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eye. So you see, vinegar is not good to the teeth. Like kasha habekua depri. One is talking about the juice coming from an unripe fruit, and one is talking about straight vinegar. But they're both talking about vinegar. One's talking about if you have a cut, one's talking about you don't have a cut. If you have a cut, it's going to heal it. If you don't have a cut, merafi, it's actually going to loosen up your teeth. Harold's on here tonight.
Right here. I'm right here.
What do they say? Vinegar on the teeth? What do they say?
I have no idea.
No, they don't. Don't they say that lemon juice?
Yeah, lemon juice is very good for the teeth.
Lemon juice is bad for your teeth.
Good. Bad. I heard bad for the teeth.
Very good.
Here you go.
Very acidic.
We gotta go. We gotta steer it.
You brush your teeth after, Harold.
You can do that also.
Yeah, but the question is it? You're saying that's what I heard, that it's acid. Then seltzer also somebody said is no good. The gas in the seltzer. You heard that one ever, Harold?
I've heard that. Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
Harold, my shwigger grew up in Burma, and they taught them to clean their teeth with coal.
Coal?
Coal, like used for our barbecue.
Oh,
charcoal now. They have charcoal now.
My wife got charcoal in Costco. She got charcoal toothpaste. Yes.
Yeah, it's also not good for you.
Right.
Also not good.
No,
yeah,
not
it
good.
destroyed her teeth.
I hear. So maybe this is a stira. Maybe this is the way the Gemara says it. If you don't have a problem, it'll kill your teeth. But if you have a problem, maybe it could help. I don't know. Maybe. Okay. Lo yigma ben es a chaymitz vayter. You should not swallow vinegar. Vatane lo yigma upaylet. What you could do is don't swallow it, right? And then spit it out. But you could swallow, meaning don't lo yigma upaylet means don't put it into your mouth and spit it out, because that clearly looks like using mouthwash or whatever it is. But you could put it into your mouth and actually swallow it, because then it looks like food. So that's what our Mishnah is teaching. Don't spit it back out, but swallowing is good. You could even say that the Mishnah is talking about swallowing. One is talking about before you dip the bread into it, and one's talking about afterwards, right? So the Mishnah is talking about afterwards. Why don't we say that since we're allowing you to do it before dipping the bread in, so then after putting it in, you'll also be moted the Rava to islay hoyel, because Rava holds hoyel. Now this is not your classic hoyel by Yom Tif, right? But he's saying hoyel, since you're normally, he's talking about. Should we go through this whole case? Yeah, but we're talking about with a person with tefillah on Shabbos. So the point is that on Shabbos, sometimes you will allow somebody to go to the mikvah. Okay, we'll see. Let's see in the Gemara Vayta. Whatever it is, but that Rava holds that whenever you matter something, so we're gonna be matter everything else because of it. Hoyle, since you're being matter it this way, we're gonna matter it this way. So the Gemara is asking, since you're allowing it to be eaten before you toivel, meaning before you ate the bread, so you should also allow it afterwards. Dama Rava, lakamidi de b'Shabbos shara v'yom kippur masad. There's nothing that's mutter on Shabbos and that's assur Yom Kippur. Hoyle de b'Shabbos shara v'yom kippur nami shara. Because if something Shabbos is more chomer, the punishment of Shabbos is more chomer, right? So hoyle, because misa is more chomer than koros. Hoyle to b'Shabbos shara b'Yom Kippur nami shara. So since something's mutter on Shabbos, it's for sure going to be mutter on Yom Kippur. Yeah, so it should be the same thing. So we say hoyle, so you should allow it. So we say Hadabei Rava mehach. Rava changed his mind from this teretz about before tefillah and after tefillah. Who says that Rava was changed his mind over here by the vinegar and the teeth? Maybe he changed his mind of that hoyle thing by Yom Kippur and Shabbos. Don't think that the Tanya kol chayv tefillah toivlin kedarkan bein betesba bein b'Yom Kippur, because we hold that anybody who's chayiv tefillah can be toivel the regular way bein betesba bein b'Yom Kippur. So clearly you see that you're allowed to, that Rava did not change his mind, because we hold that you are allowed to toivel on Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur, which is obviously not the way we pasken nowadays. Yeah?
Is that because today it's a derabanan, then it was a deraisa?
Yeah. Today, because we pasken the tefillah bismana is lav mitzvah. If we pasken the tefillah bismana is mitzvah, then women would go to the mikvah on Yom Kippur and on Tisha B'Av. And single girls would have to go to the mikvah too. Meaning anytime a woman has the opportunity to become tar, it's a mitzvah, and a rechitza, washing for a mitzvah, is mutter on Yom Kippur and on Tisha B'Av. But l'maisa, since we hold it's lav, it's tefillah bisman is not mitzvah, so therefore nowadays we don't go on Tisha Kippur. Okay. We hold like Reb Shimon that everybody can use oil from roses. Remember the Rav Reb Shimon Svirulai, do you say that Rav holds like Reb Shimon? That's a very interesting kasha. But right, because we're saying that Rav is paskening like Reb Shimon. So we're saying, does Rav pasken like Reb Shimon? Right? So that's talking about if you have a barrel and you want to make sure that the wine comes out of the barrel very smooth, so you stick a cloth into it, and that helps it come out smooth. Yeah. Also, you're not allowed to stick that cloth in there on Yom Tov, right? Why? Because what's going to end up happening is you end up squeezing out that cloth from the wine, and then you're going to be over on schita on Yom Tov, even though that's not your intention, right? That's not your intention. So clearly, he's saying what? It's also to do that. Now, Reb Shimon would hold, as we had many times, Shimon holds is mutter. So clearly, Rav is passing here that it's also, so he's not holding like Reb Shimon, right? So Gemara answers by there. You feel Reb Shimon is maida that it's not allowed. You're not put the cloth in the Abaye Rava. Reb Shimon psik reisha v'lo yomos. Well, it's really a question. Psik reisha v'lo yomos, right? You're going to cut off the head of the chicken, and it's not going to die. So there, it's a psik reisha that it's going to automatically squeeze out wine. Now, before we go weiter, the difficulty with the way Rashi explains this kasha is basically saying Rav is paskening like Reb Shimon by what? By putting on rose oil on Shabbos, right? Then we say, does he pasken like Reb Shimon? And we bring a case having to do with psik reisha. Just because Rav paskens like Reb Shimon by rose oil means he has to pasken like Reb Shimon in every other aspect of his life, right? So the reason why I think it's an important question to analyze is because people think that if you go with one Rav, you got to go with that Rav for everything. My pasek, my Rav. It's not true. It's not true. You can only not do it stiras, meaning you have one machlokes. If you have a machlokes that can go two different ways, then you can't pick and choose for your convenience. But if just because we don't hold necessarily of Rav Moshe Feinstein everything that Rav Moshe Feinstein says, right? So some places the Gedolim pasken like him, some places they didn't pasken like him. So here the Gemara seems to be saying that Rav, you pasken like Reb Shimon by rose oil, so it means you got to pasken like Reb Shimon and every place else. That's the way Rashi understands the question, right? Tosfos does not like that. Yeah, the second Tosfos from the bottom really adds this kasha, right? And he brings rayas and he says that there's other places where Rav doesn't hold like that. So why here, right? Yeah. So anyway, that's what Tosfos kasha is. How Tosfos is, I don't know. Should we do the Tosfos? He says that we're saying that the reason for Reb Shimon in our Mishnah is because davar she'eino mischaven, right? Because sometimes you do it for refuah, and Reb Shimon is mekel because he's not being mechaven to refuah. Meaning, let's say the guy's shmiring. The way Tosfos' understanding is, he's understanding that in our Mishnah with using rose oil, are we afraid that the guy might put on the oil because he thinks that he's doing it for gishmak or whatever, right? Feel good. But then he might end up doing refuah, so I'll be worried about davar she'eino mischaven, not davar she'eino mischaven, and therefore it fits exactly into the kasha we're asking from the squeezing out the shmata by the grapes. Okay, whatever it is. So it's very interesting. It's a tzarech and a shtickle on Rashi that Rashi clearly seems to be saying that if you hold, at least the way Rashi's saying it, it's at least in Hilchos Shabbos, that Rav holds like Reb Shimon in one place in Hilchos Shabbos, seems like he has to pasken like him in all places in Hilchos Shabbos. That's not usually the mahalach and psak. Okay, weiter. V'omer Reb Chia, 3 lines down. V'omer Reb Chia bar Ashi Omer Rav halacha k'Reb Yehuda, and Reb Chia bar, right, was saying, we said that Reb Chia bar Ashi says in the name of halacha k'Reb Yehuda, right? Meaning the Gemara's teretz right now was saying that even Reb Shimon is maida. What do you mean? We have clearly that Rav Hope says that halacha is like Reb Yehuda, right? V'Rachana barami Omer Shmuel halacha k'Reb Shimon, and Rav Chana barami says halacha is like Reb Shimon. Whatever it is, Rav, we clearly see that Rav paskens like Reb Shimon. Rav Chia bar Abin masni la beloy gavri, and Rav Chia bar Masna said without mentioning names. Rav Omer halacha k'Reb Yehuda, v'Shmuel Omer halacha k'Reb Shimon. So clearly, you see, Rav does pasken like Rav Shimon. El Amarava, Aniva, Riba Shechabura, me and the lion of the Chabura, Targamina, we're gonna say Pshat. Umar Rav Chia bar Avin, who was the Arisha b'Chabura? That's Rav Chia bar Avin. Halacha Rav Shimon. The halacha is like Rav Shimon. V'lamet tamei, and not for the reason, not because of Rav Shimon's reason that everybody's considered b'nei malachim. We pasken like Rav Shimon we're paskening, meaning basically we're paskening that you can use oil like Rav Shimon, but not for the reason that Rav Shimon says. My halacha Rav Shimon, right? And what's the halacha Rav Shimon? I'm sorry, I went back. What I just do? My halacha Rav Shimon. What do you mean the halacha is like Rav Shimon and it's not for his reason? Rav Shimon the shari, because maybe Rav Shimon holds that it does heal. And Rav holds that it doesn't heal. Does Rav hold that this oil will not heal you? Meaning if it doesn't heal you, like we said yesterday, that means you can do it on Shabbos. It says that B'nei Malachim smear this stuff on their cuts, this rose oil on their cuts, that it should heal them. So clearly these king's kids know what they're doing. Right? The halach is like Rav Shimon. It's not for the reason. Dilu Rav Shimon's not for Rav Shimon's reason. Dilu Rav Shimon Savar al gav deloy shchiach shari. Even though it's not common, it's still mutter. Right? Meaning, even though normal people don't use rose gold, rose. What's it called? Even though they use rose oil, it's mutter. But it meaning if it's not common. So if it's not common, it clearly looks like they're doing refuah. But Rav Savar ishchiach in v'lo shchiach like Rav holds no. When Rav says he passes like Rav Shimon, he says that's only if you normally use rose oil. If you don't normally use rose oil, then it's not gonna work. And the reason why Rav paskin that you are allowed to use the rose oil, because in Rav's town they did use rose oil. But theoretically, if they didn't use rose oil, then Rav would paskin not like Rav Shimon. Okay, so therefore we have no kashas because Rav does not necessarily paskin like Rav Shimon from our Mishna. Okay, I actually had hold on 1 second. I'm posting this on the chat. Posting a picture on the chat. I meant to do it before. Here, this is from the. Yeah, I don't know how to post it on the thing. I just this is that picture I just posted on the chat on the WhatsApp. Are we there? Yeah, is a picture from the Lamites Malachas book by Rabbi Ribiat about the different knots on a boat and on a camel's nose. Ve'eluk sazak the Mishna. Ve'eluk sharm shechayavan lein. These are the ksharim that you're chayav on them. Kesher hagamolin, a kesher from camels, the kesher hasafonin, and a kesher on boats. The same way you're chayiv for tying these knots, you're going to be chayiv because of matir, right? The two of us malachas are tying and untying. So kesher is tying, matir is untying. R Meir says if you could tie a knot, if you tie a knot that you could take out with one hand, that means it's not such a strong knot, and therefore it's not going to be assur midaraisa. It's still assur, but you're not going to be chayiv for it. Okay, so basically, so far what the Mishna said is that there's knots that you over on a deraisa, and there's the knots that are permanent. So that's the one that you put on the camel, the camel's nose, and one that you put on the boat, like that picture that I just sent out. My kesher agamalin bekesher saponin. What is the kesher on the gomel and the kesher saponin? Ilay mekatra to. Hold on a second. What just happened? Oh, you posted. I didn't know what was going on.
Sorry. There you go.
Okay. Am I still back? Am I on now? Am I there? You hear me?
We hear you.
All right, fine. Okay. So Ilay Makatra, the Katri, right? So if you say Kitra the Katri Bismama, it's the knot. Kitra is the Aramaic for Kesher, right? The test and the shin are interchangeable. Ilay Makatra the Katri Bismama, it's talking about the knot that you put into the nose ring, the Katra the Katri Bistarida, and it's the knot that you put through the ring, right? High Kesher Sheinashakayamahu. Meaning if you look in that picture, there's the ring that goes through the nose, and there's the ring that goes through the boat. That's not what the Gemara thinks now. The Gemara thinks you got to attach a rope to that. So that's not permanent, right? When you want to release the camel, you untie that, right? Or you untie the boat. The knot we're talking about is like in those pictures. It's the one that stays permanently on the camel's nose and the one that stays permanently on the boat, on the front of the boat. Okay, R Meir kol kesher boy Rav Achtuye Demar, Rab Achtuye, the brother of Mar, the Maracha, Aniva R Meir Mao. What's the story with making a, how do you call an aniva? I mean, we call aniva a tie, but there's another
bow?
name. I don't know if it's a bow. Is it a bow or a slip? That's the way they tie it?
Yes.
Bow? Slip knot? It's a bow? Okay. I guess that's why you're allowed to tie a tie on Shabbos, right? Okay, we'll see, right? Aniva the R Meir Mahut. What's the story with an aniva, with a bow, according to R Meir? Time of the R Meir, Mishum de Yachala Tira Ba'achas Miyadavu. The reason why R Meir's makel is because you're able to untie it with one hand. And a bow you could also do. But maybe R Meir is saying that no, even it's his problem is that if you could do it one hand, it means it's not tight. And this aniva is tight. So we say teiku. So we don't know the pshat. Yeah, we don't know how to say pshat. Yeah, so therefore, we don't know which way R Meir is going. If it's pshat, is that it's just because it's very tight, or because you could untie with one hand.
Is there a machlekes R Meir and Tanakama here?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Very strange lashon.
Yeah, I thought he was saying something independent. Right?
What does the Tanakama hold? The Tanakama says the only chayiv for things.
I don't think the Tanakama weighed in on this yet.
No, but he says something clearly. He says, what is a kesher shechayav and aleh, kesher agamolim, and kesher saponim? These are real knots. So the Gemara discussed what are real knots. They're permanent knots. So anything that's not a permanent knot, you're palter for. Or mutter.
Well, probably potter aval assur, but
Then R Meir is not adding anything.
well, he's saying I see. That's what I thought. I thought R Meir is just describing, giving a description of a type of a knot.
Which is not permanent, or even a permanent knot, if it's able to be untied with one hand.
That's the teku. That's the teku. No? I just want to finish a few more lines because tomorrow, Friday, it's a little bit longer daf. So, yesh l'cha zok the Mishnah. So first thing we have, basically, there's going to be three types of knots. There's permanent knots, that's assur d'oraisa. Then there's going to be knots that are not meant to be permanent, which is basically on your shoes, right? Let's say a mashal for that would be your shoelaces, right? That's a knot, but usually you untie them, unless you're like me and you never untie them. But right then I wouldn't be able to tie the shoes because that's a permanent. But if you're a normal person, you tie and untie your shoes. So that's definitely not permanent. Then you have the middle, which is sometimes you keep it for longer, sometimes you don't. So far we mentioned the first Mishnah, the ones that are permanent. Now we talk about the middle. Yesh l'cha k'sharim, zok the Mishnah, she'ein chayav alein k'kesher gomel k'kesher sapana. There are types of knots that you're not chayav on them, like the ones that go on the camel and the boats. That's fine. Now it's then the Mishnah says kesheres isha mafteya chaluka v'chute svacha. Remember the good old svacha? That's the hat, right? So a woman is allowed to tie the opening of her shirts and the opening for her hats, v'shal piskia, and piskia is a girdle. A rituas min of a sandal, and they're also allowed to tie the strings on their shoes and the sandals. V'nudas yayin and what do you call a nudas yayin? A flask, like a flask of oil and shemen. U'keder shel basar, and a pot of meat. You're allowed to tie up you're allowed to tie up a fence so that the animal won't escape. Obviously, the fence has to be closed, otherwise you're going to be considered trapping. But anyway, so that's what the Mishnah says again. But the Mishnah needs, the Gemara is going to ask immediately, because the Mishnah says there are knots that you're not chayiv on them, but it's masha that it's assur. And then right then the next line it says a woman could tie this, woman could tie that. So is that a description of the first line in the Mishnah? Then it doesn't make any sense. So that's what the Gemara asks. Hagufa kasha. The Mishnah itself is a kasha. And there are knots that you're not chayiv on them. It's mashma that you're not chayiv. But these things are assur. Then you're allowed to tie it. So it can't be that the second line in the Mishnah is coming to describe the first line, because the first line is mashma that you're not chayiv, but it's assur. And then the second line is saying but lechatchila. So the Gemara says hachikam. This is what it's saying. Yesh ksharin shein chayav alein k'kesher gamal k'kesher saparim. There are knots that you're not chayiv on for a camel in a boat. Well, my neo, what are they? What are these things? Kitra dekachi bismama, v'kitra dekachi b'astridya. These are the knots that you tie to that knot that's in the picture, right? That's what the Gemara was Havamina was. Those are the knots that you tie onto the knot that's already on the camel, and that's the knot that you tie onto the knot that's on the boat. So chiyuvu deleka ha'isura ika. But there's no chiyuv, but it's still going to be assur, meaning the rabbanon, right? Because even though it's going to be a very tight knot, and it's going to be a very tight knot, but it's not necessarily permanent. And then there's another type of knots that's mutar lechatchila, umayniyu, kasheres, miftechei chaluka, etc. Those are a woman's clothing and all those type of things. Those are going to be mutar lechatchila. So that's basically what it is. We have three levels. We have the permanent, then we have for the woman and the shoes and all that, which is not permanent. And then you have the middle, which is the things that get tied to the camel, which is a problem because they're tied tight, which actually is a machlokes rishonim, exactly what the issue is, but maybe tomorrow we'll discuss it a little bit. All right. Have yourselves a good night. Gershon, what are you saying there? What, somebody want to say something first? Hello? Somebody want to ask?
Let's say it's a permanent knot, but I can untie it.
Erev Shabbos, 6 o'clock?
Yeah, 6 o'clock. Yeah, right, Perek? 6 o'clock? Yeah. What are you saying? It's a permanent knot?
Let's say I have a permanent knot, but I could untie it.
Permanent knot, but you could untie it. No, that
with one hand.
That with one hand, you mean?
Yeah.
Permanent knot that you can untie with one hand. Isn't that the teku?
Mm-hmm.
That would be the teku. So then we would, I mean, for a daraisa, a Savik daraisa, I think we have to be machmer. I'll have to double check, but I think we'd have to be machmer on that. The basic machlokes rishonim between Rashi and the Rambam is how do you define permanent? Do you define permanent just as being tight, or do you say permanent means do you never plan on ever untying this again? So that's really where it plays into it. All right.
Okay.
Keep up the good work.
Two questions I have for you.
Yeah.
One, you talked about oil, that you're allowed to use oil on Shabbos, right?
Right.
In general. But if a person has dry skin, isn't that a form of healing when you put oil on it?
Yes. Well, the question is pimples, dry skin, all those things. Is that really considered a chayla, or is that just because you don't like? In
the winter, people have dry hands. They have chapped hands. They're bleeding.
Oh yeah. One of my kids has that terrible. Yeah. So that would be refuah. That would be refuah. But let's say you're
able to put oil on your body. Right.
So if you're doing it because you enjoy it, then it's no problem.
Oh.
If you're doing it because you enjoy it, it's no problem. But
I'm not Jesse. Simon's one.
All right, and last question is, we talked about tying an animal on Shabbos, and it wouldn't be considered trapping. I would say all the more so it's trapping, because we were discussing how letting the animal out of your house leaves the door open a little bit. So now we're going to hold this animal with tying it up. That's considered trapping.
No, the gate is already closed. The animal can't get out. This is the way I understand it. I don't know, maybe the art scroll or somebody has a different shot. The way I understand is that it's closed. The gate's closed under normal circumstances. That it will not escape. But you never know what could happen. You know what I mean? Overnight, if the wind blows and this and that, and it shakes it, so you just want to guarantee that it's not going to get out. Although I think it's shot is that's like if it's in a cage inside your house, are you allowed to lock your door? Right? So you were saying you're allowed to do that because it's already trapped. So that's here too. I think that's the way I understand it.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, no problem.
Good to know.
Simon,
good night.
Have a good night.
Simon.
Is Simon still on? No. No, he's not. He goes to the door?
I don't want. I'm too. Once.